Yeah, hi guys, my name is Narayan and I welcome all of you in this video once again. Guys, in this video, I'm just gonna talk about the basic questions and answers if you are going for the interview of network, hardware and network engineer or desktop or network support or tech help desk support, network support, or if you are a fresher and you want to make your career in networking. So especially I'm talking about the server terms. So the thing is like it's gonna be a just basic theory discussion, not in depth like CCN and all. I will be preparing separate video for those things. So it's just basic concepts and what are the questions from network theory or technology. So in this video, I would be talking about 50 questions. I hope this video will be informative for you. If it is informative, please subscribe my channel if it is helpful for you or if it is informative for you. And like on this video, comment on this video. And if you subscribe my channel, you will be getting latest updated videos also because I would try to share as much as question answer I can. So in this video, I'm just gonna talk about 50 questions. In next video, I will share next 50 more questions. So guys, let me begin this. If you are going for the interview of network, so they will ask you the very simple and very first question, what is network? So it's a very simple thing we should be able to answer because network is a dedicated field or dedicated subject you can say to work, and it's very good. So the definition is a computer network is a group of computers that are connected together to communicate and share resources such as file, printers, and emails. So this much information is sufficient to talk about the what is network. You do not need to talk about multiple things. This is just basic thing you can tell them what is network. And if you want, you can read lots of things here. So it's a just connection of multiple computers together to communicate with each other and share the files and printers and email. Uh, network media such as network media such as cable to carry data, network adapter to translate the data between the computer and network media. So these are the component you can say the net components of network: cables, adapter card, computer, then and lots of things are there. Protocols again. So this is how we can tell about the network. As you can see here, I have one computer here. This is printer, and this is my. I have three computer and I have some file on this computer, so I can share this file with this and across this network. So this is very helpful for us, and each and everything is connected with each other. So the next question, a very basic question: what do you mean by server? Server, what is server? So definition: a server is a network computer that share resources with and respond to the request from the other network computers, including other servers. So guys, the meaning is very simple. It is a server which contains or which keeps the information, or information itself or resources of the network, so that you can share those resources with others and respond to the request of the uh, other computers or other servers. For example, this is a server. Okay, I have kept some information here, and I have one user here who is sitting here. Now he wants to access some information from here, so I will configure some securities for that data, so it will keep that information, what permission, what restriction I have given to that resource for that user. So it will deal with that request, and if it is if this permission is given to that user, he will be able to access that resource. If it is not, then this server will not allow him to access that resource. So this is what we have server here. Server provides centralized access and storage for resources that can include application, file, printers, and other hardware, and specialized service such as email. So we can have multiple files here, multiple shares here, resources here, and emails also, and they provide multiple services as well. So I will be talking about lots of things in this video, and so guys, the next question is, what is client? What do you mean by client? And here one more question we have, one more, what is host, or what do you mean by host? So both are different thing. If we talk about client here, A client is a network computer that utilizes the resources of other network computer. Okay, there should not be any confusion between host and client. So the client is what it will use the resources of other computer. For example, I have server here, and this is my one client, and this is my second client. Now what will happen, including other clients, the client computer has its own processor, memory and storage, and can maintain some of its resource and perform its own tasks and processing. Any type of computer on the network can function as a client of other computer from time to time. So this is how we have client here. They will utilize resources of the network computers. Now if we talk about host, a host computer is a powerful centralized computer system such as a mainframe computer that perform data storage and processing tasks on behalf of client and other network devices. So for example, this is my host, this one, and I have one setup, this desktop computer here, one desktop computer here, and one printer here, or you can say networking devices. So this will be my host because it is processing on the behalf of computer, it is processing on the behalf of printer. So this is how we can differentiate between client and host. There should not be any confusion. On a host based network, the host computer does all the computing tasks and return the resultant data on end user computer. So whatever we have to do, uh, we are trying to do, this host will do on the behalf of computers. So this is the difference between client and host. So host will be processing all the things, but in client they will use the network resources, utilize the resources of other computers, other network computers. Same, we have one more question here. What is terminal? Okay, now we will see what is terminal. A terminal is a specialized network device on a host-based network that transmits the data entirely via the user to the host for processing and displaying the results. So you can see, say the simple thing. This is my client, and this is my terminal basically, and this is my client. So if we talk about this, it will not use its own memory, or it will not process anything. It will just use the memory and processor of different system. So whatever we want to do, we will have to enter the command from here, and it will process accordingly. Now, terminal often called dumb because they don't have processor or memory on their own. We call them dumb also. A true terminal consists a little more than a keyboard or monitor. So basically what will happen here, max to max keyboard and monitor. A standard client computer, if we talk about a standard client computer, this one, and that need to interact with host computer can run software called terminal eliminator, so that they appear on the host as dedicated terminals. So we need some this thing software to make this communication happen between this processing device and the terminal as well as client. Now what is authentication? Authentication is nothing but it's just verification of the username and password, and it's a security measure. And for example, I'm a user here, this is my computer, I'm sitting here, and I have a server here. Now I'm just telling this computer who I am. How do I know? This computer will send one query this side. How do I know? So it will provide username and password, and if it matches the username and password and credentials, it will approve. Then only you can access that resources, whatever resources here. Encryption. What do you mean by encryption? Encryption is a security measure in which information is encoded or scrambled prior to transmission, so that it cannot be read unless the recipient know the decoding mechanism or key. So the thing is, guys, if you are transmitting any data from one place to another place or over the network, encryption is a method to encrypt that data and change the format or something like that. So this original data will not be in same actual or original form what we are trying to send here over the network when it is transmitting. that is called encryption, and the receiver will be able to open that data only when he receives, or that mechanism will match. Mechanism should match. Both the receiver and sender should uh, use the same encryption, then only he can open that data. Encryption is used in some form on almost every network, often to protect password during authentication, but also to protect the data, including network messages. So I'm saying, I mean, the meaning is like to we use this encryption to protect the data as well as messaging, network messaging. So the data is encrypted here. Now it will decrypt. The decrypting is like it should match, that key should match, and it should use the same mechanism. Now network directory. What do you mean by network directories? So a network directory or directory service is a centralized database that include objects such as servers, client computers, user names, and password. So the meaning is very simple. I have a server, or I have a directory which contains the information like servers, client computers, username, and their password, and it will keep as a centralized at centralized location all those things, and it will help to access the network resources, or for the authentication or authorizations. The directories is stored on one or more server and available throughout the enterprise. So that will be stored somewhere, so that it should be able to access or available throughout the enterprise. Now, next question is networking standards. What do you mean by networking standards? Definition is very simple. Networking standards is a set of specification, guidelines, or characteristics applied to network component to ensure interoperability and consistency between them. So the meaning of standard is like and there are certain specification, guidelines, and characteristics. So every vendor has to follow all those things, rules and regulations, so that interoperability meaning is like different vendor we have on the I mean in market. So all the hardware should communicate with each and everything. Like this is my connector, it should connect with different company cable and number of computers. So these are the complete guidelines every vendor has to follow at the time of production of network component or hardware or devices, you can say. Now, what is node? What do we mean by node? So a node is any network device that can connect to the network and can generate, process, or transfer data between, I mean, network data. So the meaning is very simple. It is a device, kind of device, which is used to connect on the network and can transfer data from one place to another place, or process can generate, process, or transfer. Okay, it should be able to generate data as well as transferring of data. It should be capable. So this is called node. Now, what do you mean by network backbone? So definition is the network backbone is higher speed transmission path that carries the majority of the network data. So it's a main line on the network which is coming from ISP to your network, and it contains it transmits higher speed data, or you can say the higher speed of the network will be contained by this main backbone, you can say main network or backbone network. It can connect a small network together into larger structure to connect server nodes to the network with the majority. So you can say this much is enough. It is a main high speed transmission path that arrive the majority of the network data. Similarly, we have next question. What is segment? What do you mean by segments? So segments is nothing but it's part. It's a small. You can say it's a small part or making a small network of larger network, or you can say the subdivision of network. A segment is bounded by physical networking devices such as hub switches or router. As you can see here, this is, you can consider it is a switch. So I made a separate segment this side and I made a separate segment this side. So this is the partition of big network, this one. So this device is playing role to make it a segment. Now, what is subnet? What do you mean by subnet? A subnet is a portion of the network that share a common network address. Okay, and the subnet can be on separate physical network segment, or it can share segment with other logical subnets. So basically it defines the uh, network portion and host portion of the network. The main function of subnet is to define how many networks we can create or how many hosts we can connect on the network. What is network model? So network model is a design specification for how the nodes on the network interact and communicate. So it's just, you can say, the physical or logical structure of the network, or how they will communicate or how they will be connected. This is called a network model. So basically there are three primary network model. We have centralized, hierarchical, and client server, and peer-to-peer. Centralized is also known as hierarchical, and client server, and this peer-to-peer server. And as you can see here, this is my centralized server. Okay, this one, and printer is connected, one user is connected, two users is connected. This is my uh, client server model basically, and this is my peer-to-peer. All desktop computers are connected here. We will see here now centralized computing network here. Definition: a centralized network is a network in which a central host computer control all the network. So this will control all the network communication and perform data processing and storage on the behalf of client. So on the behalf of user or client, it will be doing all the activities. Now next question is client server. What do you mean by client server? So a client server network is a network in which server provides service to client. So this server will provide service to client like authorization, authentication, resources accessing and all. Now peer-to-peer network. Peer-to-peer network is a network in which resource sharing, processing and communication control are completely decentralized. So here centralized, nothing is just like centralized. Everything will happen to that separate computer only. Resources, processing and communication. This is called peer-to-peer, desktop to desktop. Now next question is mixed mode network. What do you mean by mixed mode network? So guys, the definition is very simple. As I have discussed about three uh, network model here. So it's a collection of or combination of two network models, you can say. A mixed mode network is a network that incorporates elements from from more than one on I mean, as I said, it can be a combination of two. As you can see here, this is my peer client, because I have a server here, and I have peer client here also, and here also, and as you can see, host here, host. So as I told you, this is my which one, first one I told you, centralized. Okay, now this is, if you say server to client, it is going to be server client, and this is peer to peer. So this is how we can say that it's a combination of more than two network models. Now, what do you mean by topology? What do you mean by topology? Very basic question. So, guys, topology is nothing but it's a physical connection of the network devices, or how you are gonna structure a network. So this is called topologies. But if you read here, it's a long description. Let me read it also. A topology is a network specification that determines the network overall layout. That is what I told you, physical connection or physical layout, and the network's data flow patterns, how data will be communicating or transmitting over the network. A topology comprises the physical topology, which describes the physical writing layout or shape, and the logical, how data will be traveling, or the path of the network, how data is going to be travel throughout the network. And the physical and logical topology do not have to be the same. Both the network, I mean, physical topology and logical topology cannot be uh, same. And there are certain topologies like star topology, ring topology, bus topology, like that. So guys, we have one more very important question here. What do you mean by hybrid topology? So the meaning is a hybrid topology is a topology that exists characteristics of more than one standard physical topology. So if we have a physical topology, ring topology, a star topology, or bus topology, it will be combination of two topologies. One side it could be my star topology, or one side it could be my bus topology, like this. So it will be a combination of two topologies or more than two topologies, is known as hybrid topology. The next question is, guys, bus logical topology. Bus logical topology. A bus, a logical bus topology is a network topology in which all nodes see the network signal at the same time, regardless of the physical writing layout of the network. So the meaning is like, for example, any data is coming here. So all four devices will be saying to for that. I mean, if I say this is my sender and I have three receiver, as soon as this data come to here, all devices will be eagerly waiting for that data to receive, even though the nodes might be connected to a central hub or reassemble a star. Or you can say this is how we can say logical bus topology. It's just how data is traveling as soon as come to this centralized device. Now network categories. What do you mean by network categories? So guys, we have basically two network category, LAN and WAN. We have multiple, but we should talk about two. And LAN, local area network. It is a self-contained network that spans a small area such as a building or floor or room. Okay, now if we talk about WAN, which is wide area network, is a network that spans multiple geographical location. WAN typically connect multiple LANs using long range transmission media. So this is what we have to basic uh, you can say network category. Now enterprise network. What do we mean by enterprise network? So guys, enterprise network is a very big network. An enterprise network is a network that encompasses all separate network component employed by a particular organization. An enterprise network can be of any size required by the organization and can employ any number of networking technologies. So the meaning is very simple. It will include LAN also, WAN also, internet also, again WAN, network technology, LAN. So it will be a complete enterprise. You can use as much as information technology you want, whatever you want, but and it will make you a enterprise network. Each and everything should be connected in that network for a particular organization. Unicast transmission. What do you mean by unicast transmission, guys? So unicast transmission, a transmission method in which data is transferred from a specific source address to a specific destination. So you can say one to one. It is a one to one connection. I have a one node here, so I'm sending from this computer, from you can say from this node to this node. So it will go to one to one only. It will not go to other computer or other system here. For example, this data transmission is initiating from here for this computer. So this only will receive this data. It will be ignored by this, or this data will not go to this computer. So this is known as unicast, one to one. Broadcast, now broadcast is one to many, or you can say group. Broadcast transmission is a transmission method in which data goes from source node to all other nodes on the network. So it will go to all. From here, this data is going to all, here, here, here also. Now, multicast transmission. See, here I told you it's not a group. It will go to all for broadcasting. But in multicasting, it happens. It goes to multicast. I mean group only. If you have a group and in that group you have 10 computers, so that data will go to that 10 computer only. And if you have more than 15 computers and those five computers are not on that group, so those five computer will not receive any data from this year. It will go to the 10 computer only. So this is called uh, multicast transmission. Now multiplexing. What is multiplexing here? So guys, multiplexing is a kind of method of data accessing. Okay. So if I talk about here, multiplexing is a control media access method in which a centralized device combine the signal from multiple nodes and transmit the combined signal across the medium. So basically it's a data access method. Signals can be multiplexed using TDM or FDM. Both rely on centralized device called multiplexer or MUX to manage the process. So guys, the meaning is very simple here. For example, I have a computer here, or let me go to this is. See, I have one computer here, okay, and three computers, for example. Now I will use one device here, MUX or this thing. Uh, TDM or FDM here. So it will change the character of the data transmission here. How? I will tell you here. If we talk about TDM, which is uh, time division multiplexing, what will happen here? With TDM, each sender is given exclusive access to the medium for a specific period of time. Nodes have exclusive access to the connection between themselves and the merges. The merge combines each. So this is the function of this TDM. If we are using this TDM, this is how it will behave here. Now what is the role of that mux here? So the mux combines each node signal in turns, sending the resulting combined signals over the primary network mediums. So the thing is like uh, some data will come here from this computer, this computer, and this computer. Now this mux will combine all the data before transmitting to the next device like this, or you can say this is my the data is coming from this side. Okay, so whatever the role this TDM has to play here, it will play here, or FDM. And now this data has to go this side. Okay, this side, it is coming from here. Now it will combine whatever the TDM has to do with the data, it did. And now before going to this device, it will combine. What will happen to in case of FDM now? With FDM, data from multiple nodes is sent over multiple frequencies or channel over the network medium. Nodes have exclusive access to the connection between themselves and the merges. The merge puts each node signal onto its own channel, sending the resulting combined signal over the primary network medium. So this is how here multiplexing works. And now we will see what is polling. So guys, polling is a controlled media access again, a method in which a centralized device contact each node in turn to see whether it has data to transmit. Each node is guaranteed access to the media, but network time can be wasted polling nodes that have no data. So again, in this, for example, any media is connected here, you can say TTM, for example, I'm just telling, or FDM or MUX, or you have 4 or 5 computers, so it will ask all the computers if you have any data to transmit over the network. Now guys, very important question, carrier sense multiple access, what is CSMA slash CD? So it's a very good method to avoid collision on the network. Carrier sense multiple access collision detection, the full form of CSMA slash CD, is a contention based media access method in which nodes can transmit whenever they have data to send. So what will happen here? A node has data to transmit. The node determines if the media is available. For example, here, this is a process here. Okay, data transmission is going to happen from here. Okay, and it will check. The second step, it will check what, whether media is available or not. Okay, this thing, the node determines if the media is available. Now if so, the node transmit the data. If media is available, this node will send the data. Now what will happen? The node determines if a collision occurred by detecting the fragmented data and result from the collision. So this is the next thing. Okay, I mean this is the third step here. It started this thing data transmission, and at the same time it is feeling like one more system is initiating data transmit, and both are coming on the same media. So collision will happen here. But in this, if it happens, so it will wait for some time. It's until the media is free. For example, it sends like one more media is sending the data, so it will wait, and later on this will send to sender device. It will release the same data for the data transmission. Now we have one more question here, carrier sense multiple access collision avoidance, what is CSMA slash CA? So guys, this thing is like, again, it's a contention based media access method in which node can transmit whenever they have data to send. However, they take steps before they transmit to ensure that the media is unused. So guys, here what will happen, uh, here this collision happen, for example, okay, and I'm just telling it happened because it was not knowing, the data came suddenly. But what will happen here, this carrier, you can say collision avoidance, it will uh, do some steps before sending the data. For example, a node has data to transmit. Node determines media is available again. If so, the node transmit a jam signal which advertise its intent to transmit the data. So what will happen here? Now again, this is transmitting data. Okay, this check. Okay, media is free. Now it will generate one jam signal. It will go to all. So it will check any other device is sending data or not. If now what will happen here? For next step, the node waits until all nodes should have had time to receive the jam signal. The node transmit its data. So it will send to all the computers and they will send acknowledgement to this back to this computer while transmitting. If they send okay, nothing to send from the rest of computers, then only it will start transmitting of the data. While transmitting, the node monitor the media for a jam signal from the other node. If received, it will stop transmitting and retry after a random delay. At the same time, क्या हुआ अभी, I mean what I'm saying, if received, I mean it started transmitting data, the system started transmitting data, and any reply comes from this computer, yes, I'm also sending. So it will stop the data transmission and it will wait for some time and it will retry after that certain random time. Now what do you mean by contention domain? So guys, a contention domain, also called collision domain, in a group of nodes on a contention based network that compete with each other for access to the media. So it's a, you can say it's a again dividing or subdivision of a larger network, and you can say it's a kind of race, who will access data first, dividing a large network of many nodes into a smaller contention domain reduces collision. So if you uh, subdivide your big network in a small network, it will avoid that collision, therefore improve the network speed. And it also increases network speed. For example, something data is coming to this switch, okay, and it has to go this side, and if we have made like I mean this contention domains, so it will not go this side. We can configure few things here for that VLAN and all, so it will give you a high speed. Because if we don't use such thing, if it is a broadcasting, then it will go to this side, and it will use your more bandwidth of the network. Guys, next question is broadband transmission. What do you mean by broadband transmission? So in broadband transmission, analog signaling is used to send data over a transmission media using a portion of the bandwidth of the network. Signals are sent as waves of electronic or optical energy. So it's a broadband connection, like we are taking an internet connection. Okay, that is called broadband connection. So data will be transmitting in the form of signals, and that signal will be traveling in the form of electromagnetic or optical energy. So this is my analog signal, and this is sender, and this is receiver. Device cannot send or receive over the same broadband channel. However, multiple broadband signals can be combined and sent over a single medium by using a frequency division multiplexing. Guys, next question is, what is the MAC address? So guys, in my previous videos also I have spoken about a MAC address. So MAC address is nothing but it's a physical address of the hardware, and it is unique. It is given by the manufacturer at the time of manufacturing. The first three bytes uniquely identified by the manufacturer. So if we talk about, this is a MAC address here, and first three bytes, if we talk about, I'm just talking about, consider it as a bytes. Okay, so it is OIU, OUI, organizational unique identifier. The remaining 3 bytes, if you say, you can consider this much only. Okay, this is 3 and this is 3. Identified the device itself and known as universal LAN MAC address. These three, last three. Now next question, network address. What is network address? So network address is a protocol, a specific identifier assigned to a node. So it's a protocol specified, a specific identifier. It is used to identify the nodes on the network. A network address typically include two parts. One part identifies the network and another that identifies the node. Okay, what as you can see here, node or host portion, or this is network portion. A network address is typically a number and is mapped to MAC address by software running on the nodes. So this is my IP address or network address, and this is my subnet marks. Separate network from node. Next question, what do you mean by packet? So guys, a packet is also called datagram, is a unit of data sent across the network. In general, all packets contain three parts: header, the data itself, plus a trailer or footer. Okay, so this is the basic concept of packet. It's a collection of uh, data, you can say, or it's a unit of data sent across the network. What will happen here? In simplest case, a sender transmit one packet and then wait for the acknowledgement from the recipient, an acknowledgement signal. If the recipient is busy, the sender is still set idle until it receives the acknowledgement, after which it sends the data, the next packet. Throughout throughput could be increased if the data could be sent in larger package. So guys, the meaning is simple very. It's a unit of data sent across the network, and packet contains header, data, and trailer or footer. Data header. What will happen in data? Or what it is actually made of preamble or destination and source addresses. So it will contain uh, destination and source address, and the data being transmitted, and error checking. It will use EDC, which is error detection codes and all. Now what do you mean by simplex mode and duplex mode? So the guys, in simplex mode, it is a one-way communication. Okay, there is no written path for this. If signal is going from this side, signal will go this side only. Nothing will come in return. And if we talk about what is a half duplex, so guys, it's a uh, two-way communication, just like walkie-talkie we use. So at a time, one person can talk, and one will have to wait. Okay, the next question is what is full duplex? Full duplex is a two-way communication. At a time, both sender and receiver can communicate with each other. Now, what is parity? Parity operates on a word by word basis. The sender adds a bit to each word of the data and then transmit to the receiver. So guys, it's a kind of method. Okay, so it is used for data, error correction. This is a sender device. Okay, now it has added something like 101010. Now this is sender, it is sending to this computer. So once this data is here, it should match same. The receiver compares the number of ones within the transmitted bytes to those received. If the count matches, the data is assumed to be valid. If a word is determined to be corrupted, the receiver requests that the data be retransmitted. Agar what I'm saying here, if anything is mismatching here, so it will tell this data is corrupted, and this sender will resend the data again. So this is called parity. Now we have one more thing here, which is cycle redundancy check, which is also known as CRC. A cycle redundancy check uses a predefined mathematical operation to calculate a CRC code. So it will use a predetermined or predefined mathematical operation for the same. It attaches the CRC to block of data and transmit it to the receiver. So it will add some sort of block to that data and send to receiver. Now what will happen? The receiving node calculates its own CRC value for the data blocked and compare it to the transmitted CRC. So it will compare that CRC or that block which was added here, and once it is, I mean, if it is matching, then only it will consider this data is okay. Else it will resend. I mean, again it will request that sender to send the data. Now we have one more question here. What is flow control? What do you mean by flow control? So guys, flow control is a class of technique for optimizing the exchange of data between systems. Okay. For example, if I'm sending any data from here to here, how it should happen? That is known as flow control. Or if too much data is sent at once, the receiving node can become overwhelmed, dropping packets that arrive too quickly to process. So for example, I have a very high speed data transmission from here, but the system is not capable to accept that much of bandwidth or that is speed. In that condition, this data transmission may not happen properly. If too little data is sent, the receiver sits idle waiting for the more data to arrive. Buffering and data windows are the flow control techniques commonly used. So we have two methods here. One is buffering and second one is data windows to control that. If you talk about streaming anything live and you see in YouTube itself, you can see entire data. First of all, it will buffer and then only video will be played. So that is known as flow control. So guys, next question is, what is coaxial cable? Very important if you are working in technology or going for interview. So the cabling question will come definitely. So guys, coaxial cable is, or coax, is a type of copper cable that features a centralized conductor surrounded by braided or foil shielding. So you do not need to read this much information, but just see this image, and this is a copper conductor. Okay, this will be in the middle of the that cable, and we have one non-conductive insulted coating. So this is like plastic. I'm just telling like plastic over this copper, and again we have one braided shielding. Okay, this one more layer you can say, and this black color. So this is called coaxial cable. uh, Now we will see what is twisted pair cable, TPC. So guys, pair cable is a type of cable in which multiple insulated conductors are twisted around each other and clad in a protective and insulating outer jacket. So the thing is very simple here. It's a collection of 8 bias. Okay, and all bias are twisted around each other. For example, if you see here, typically two conductors are twisted around each other. Same thing I was telling. These pairs may be twisted together with the other pair depending on the type of and size of cabling. So the basic thing is here we have here uh, four, you can say, group. Okay, so all are twisted with each other. So as you can see here, pairs has base color scheme, so it will have some sort of coloring also, and this is covered by one insulator again, this black color or blue color. Basically conductor are stripped. So we will use this wires on, I mean these wires at the time of crimping. Okay, now we will talk about STP and UTP. So guys, we have two sort of or two type of twisted pair cable. One is STP and one is UTP. So if we talk about UTP, does not include shielding around its conductor. Okay, if I see anything, no, I have not taken. So guys, it will not have any shielding around its conductor, like typically contains four pair of stranded or solid conductors, inexpensive and reliable, support distance 100 meter, and support data transfer up to 1 GB. If we talk about STP, Uh, Includes shielding, typically a foil wrapper around its conductor to improve the cable resistance to interference and noise, and typically contain four pairs of standard or solid conductors, support distance up to 100 meter and more expensive than UTP, the most commonly used in token ring. So guys, this is what we have difference in between if we talk about UTP and STP cable. If we talk about twisted pair cable categories, so we have some 6 7 categories. If we talk about the first one, voice grant, not suitable for networking. Okay. And if we talk about category 2, digital phone and low speed network, maximum 4 Mbps. The third one is Ethernet, maximum speed 10 Mbps. Fourth one, IBM token ring, 16 Mbps maximum. Cat 5 fast Ethernet, maximum 100 Mbps. This is very commonly used. And Cat E, it is gigabit Ethernet, maximum 350 Mbps, and Cat 6 gigabyte Ethernet, maximum speed 1 Gbps, and 7 Cat 7 gigabit Ethernet, same 1 GB plus. Now next question is, what is optical cable, fiber optical cable? So fiber optical cable is a type of network cable in which the core is one or more glass or plastic standard strands. So guys, as you see here, this is what we have: fiber optic cable, and the core is between 5 and 100 microns. Okay, very teeny wires, you can say, a thick wires here, something like that. Okay, it will be covered by an outer jacket, sometimes called armor or wrap, and protect the whole assembly. The main work of this one, inner jacket, and this is glass or plastic core, glass or plastic core, silica cladding. This is what the material actually here, and this is outer jacket. So it uses light for data transmission, is, and it's very what I'm trying to say, very expensive. Light pulse from a laser or high intensity LEDs are passed through the core to carry the signals. So very expensive, and users are very what I mean to say, in very uh, long distance communication, like we have BSNL or something like that. So they uses that kind of technology. Now, what do you mean by radio networking? So, guys, radio networking is a form of wireless communication in which signals are sent via radio frequency waves in the 10 kHz and 1 gigahertz range. Radio networking is subject to electrical interference from power lines and building material structure component and atmospheric conditions. So it's kind of radio frequency communication. You will have one tower like this, and signals will be coming from there to users. Now, microwave transmission. What do you mean by microwave transmission? So that if you see here, you can understand what does it mean. So satellite will be sending data, or that communication will be happening with the help of satellite. For example, this is a sender, so this data will go to satellite and it will come to this receiver from the satellite. Now, what is network interface card? So the meaning is very simple, guys. The network interface card, NIC, is a device that serves as an intermediary between the computer's data bus and network. To connect the network, PC must have an NIC. The meaning is like LAN card or LAN port is known as NIC. Next question, what do you mean by repeaters? So guys, repeaters are again very useful for the networking or in technology. So they just regenerate the strength of signal, or they improve the signal strength at the time of data transmission. A repeater is a device that regenerates a signal to improve transmission distance. By using repeaters, you can exceed the normal limitation of segment length imposed by the various networking technologies. So guys, the meaning is very simple. like we have a repeater here and data is transmission is happening here. The strength is very good from here to here to here, but now it is going down, go down. So once it comes to repeater, it will strength or it will improve the strength of the data. Now it will be very good up to the destination. So guys, next question is, what do you mean by hub? So hub is a networking device used to connect the drops in a physical star topology network into a logical bus topology. So basically, the use of hub is to connect multiple devices once again, or to create like star topology or expand the network. Hub supports transmission is speed of 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps or both simultaneously. It can support both 100 Mbps as well as 10 Mbps simultaneously. These are active hubs which generates the signal like a repeater, and there are also passive hub which simply connect the segments without modifying the signals. So guys, in this video this much questions only. I hope this video will be informative for you. If it is informative, please don't forget to subscribe my channel for more videos, and comment on this video, like this video and share this video. In next video I will be talking about again 50 more questions. Till then, bye bye.